you've never been here before, this is our live stream, mine and Shop Mom's. So we talk about anything automotive. While we're waiting for everybody to get in the room, I wanted to just talk to the ones that may have come across this because we do leave it up. And I believe I'm a little bit sideways anyway. So this is what happens at first anyway. Don't we have our, oh, you can let me know, Shop Mom?
It's a good place.
It's a good place?
Yeah.
Now it's crooked that way.
Well, it wasn't.
And it wasn't, but now it is, right?
Well, it takes a few minutes.
How's that? All right, it takes a minute for everybody to get here. The ones that are coming onto the channel that are viewing it afterwards, apologize for letting everybody come into the room, but that's what we do. Let me see if I can find my live on here. I believe we do. I'm gonna cut my...
And it may just be you and me.
Yeah, maybe just the two of us, and that's okay too. We've done this before.
We could go to the old stuff. Talk dirty to me.
It's the hop in. It's all right. So no one's in the room yet, I believe, besides Shop Mom and myself. But so I'm gonna stay hydrated. I don't know. And do I look okay?
You look great.
All right.
Of course, that's what I think. Wade's here. Soliz Navidad.
Soliz Navidad. Wade, we're waiting for Terry, but Wade may would be enough for me to Soliz Navidad a cold beverage, right? Shop Mom.
You know what? You're entitled. Go ahead.
I'm entitled, and so I'm gonna go ahead while we wait for more people to enter the room. I have a lot to talk about, as always, probably, right? Isn't that right, Shop Mom?
Isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth?
Well, I'm going to explain some stuff that's been going on in our life. I was going to wait till more people got in the room so that way I don't have to do it again. Hello, Bob. So my eye, if you noticed a little bit, maybe from there, don't look that bad. The top of my head. Oh, Terry's here. I can finally have a sip. There you go. Pachanga Friday, Terry. I was waiting. I poured it, but I did not actually partake until Terry came to the room. Terry is TR for those of you who don't know. So what happened is last weekend, I'm in the shop at home. We're going to winterize the smoke unit hot vapor car, the Plymouth. And long story short, I'm also doing some remodeling to the shop. I have a back door. I'm going to fix the back door, doing all kinds of stuff. I get up on a frame jig, which is a big metal table you can put a race car on or something and build on it. And while working up on there, and I have a ladder about this far from me, and I'm right here. Long story short, I got up on the table to work on this door. I twisted the door sideways, stood on it, the door moved, and I went from a frame jig to the floor and landed on my head and my hand, my arm. So I don't know if you can see the purple from down here all the way up to here. So my hand was fat, swollen. I wasn't in too good a shape. So that's where this is from. Not Shop Mom. I'm going to get that out there.
Stop
insinuating that it is. No, it's not. But anyway, so I'm better. I feel a little clicking going on there, but doing very well for 1 week of recuperating. So on Sunday, I called in some help. Faye came over and we did winterize the Plymouth and shot video. I had planned to have it fully edited, but we shot a lot of video. So I think I'm going to do a cool video drop maybe next week or during the holidays. So I'm working on it. So I've been editing that video. Decided not to drop it today and have it be not very well or cut it really short. Does that matter, mean anything to anybody? All right. Soliz Navidad, everybody. That's what we say here. Feliz Navidad is what other people say. So, all right, we're having some drinks. Anyway? Hey, Bob. So we're gonna make it happen, right? We're on a roll now. I guess I don't know.
Venom's here.
Cheers, Venom. I'm gonna wait till Shop Mom to learn how to fight. You're exactly right. Yes, it was not Shop Mom. I joke. The last time, several weeks back, I ran into the doorway with the camera stand, and did this to this eye, and I had a black eye under there. So now I got a just black eye there, but it's doing much better. I mean, like I said, 3 or 4 days ago, this thing was just fat as all could be. I don't know what else to say. I have some interesting things I want to show. Oh, I can do it now. Merry Christmas, J. Scott V. I say this, Shop Mom says this. We really have a wonderful group here. Hey, little Sarah. Just amazing. Something came in today, and I had this going on. At that time, it was really, really fat, and my head really, really bouncing. But anyway, I'm going to get to it. Package came in, didn't know what it was. I open it up, and like there was brake fluid in the room. I'm going to tell you. So this is the note that I get inside of it. I'm going to leave it up there for just a little bit. See if y'all can read it. Can you read it, Shop Mom? You can read it, right?
Well, yes.
Yes. So it's take care of this for me. Merry Christmas, Scott. So that was the first thing that I saw. Not expecting anything at all. Can you see this? To me, if you know me and you know my love of Smoky Eunuch, this is like priceless. When he says, "Can you take care of this for me?" Well, you know I'm going to. It. This is just. Do you see that? That's a signed Indy 500. This is the little thing that you use, you know.
Stadium seat. It's
yeah, the stadium seat that you buy and you sit on. 1994. It's signed by Smoky Eunuch. So, yes, I will gladly take care of this for you. Scott, I just, like I said, there was brake fluid in the room. Just can't even, thank you enough. It's just, it made me feel good. It's like, I don't know. I mean, like I said, I was beat up. My head was a real big knot up here. My hand was, and it was just, I keep on beating myself up. And so, Scott, and I did a little video, a little short, and didn't know if, a lot of times we don't want to use your real name. Everybody here, knows you, J. Scott V. So I think Shop Mom said to just use Scott V or something in the video. But if you saw it, you know that I appreciate it. And I thank you, and Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. And Scott's been sending us. I don't want to get into just sending stuff. This gift basket of tins with all these nuts in them. From the pecans and cashews and candied ones and non-candied ones, and I don't know if you can tell that I've gained a little weight. Normally,
it's mascot pecan.
It says what kind of pecans?
Mascot
Pecans is the name of the company.
If anybody wants to send a really cool gift that everybody will enjoy, just head on over to their site. They have a wonderful assortment, and Scott has been really, really generous to us over the years.
Oh, I mean, he's, he sends...
Although I say us, I think I got maybe two candies.
The top 10 is empty now. The top 10 is empty now. Last year, I waited till Christmas. I had it under the tree, tied. We kind of feel like, it's a Christmas present. Leave it under the tree, tied. And darn it, if I was feeling kind of bad, I already got into it. So Scott already got the top 10 is now empty. Makes a nice tin. Awesome. Like I said, the one in the middle is sweets, all kinds of different nuts that have sugars and everything on it. The bottom one is the salty layer. Man, with the glass of wine or a cold beer, some salted nuts are just really well. So anyway, don't want to get into all of that. Thank you again, Scotty. You're I tell everybody we're all like family. I know this, weird, the internet, and we did this when it started was during the pandemic. But I can tell you, when my mom passed, some of the were right on cue. What I needed, not knowing, is kind of, was the comments that I received from from y'all. Oh man. So just, it's weird. Like you see, things just come and go and read them, and it's like, wow, we are connected. We are connected. It's not just some, just say I'm connected or not. But Liliana's here. So I have two of my granddaughters here, son here, brother-in-law's here. We're literally family. Craig White here. I mean, we literally are family. So we do take it seriously. It is not just something, like I said, I know the three of y'all that I can, that really, really made a difference in my heart when I read that. So, okay. Yay. Lily's here. I'm not going to drink to Lily. To Lily, I'll have some water.
To Lily coming over to help make tamales.
Mm-hmm. We've been making tamales. We should have a cooking channel. Also, you don't want to. Everybody says you don't want to mix, your channels stuff, but we could literally have a cooking channel. Shop Mom is the heck of a cook, and we've been making tamales now for 3 weeks, 3 weekends.
Yes.
So this weekend will be another batch of tamales. I think this weekend we've decided maybe venison is this weekend.
Yes.
So we're doing venison this weekend. The tamales are traditional pork, and tamales are different in different parts of the world and different parts of the country. In California, the tamales aren't the same as the tamales we get here in Texas. So, anyway, what else would he?
Nothing. I just answering Blazer. It's okay, babe.
It's okay.
It is okay.
So, and what we were going to talk about, because I had, I dropped shorts and I dropped other videos in different platforms as well. But the winterizing was it's a good subject, but it's more than a one-part subject. It almost could be 3 different parts, and they can all be in depth. And I wanted to talk about winterizing. Somebody asked a little more question. I said, you know what, that'll be the subject for today's video. When I was planning on still having the video that we've already shot drop tonight, but we can still talk about winterizing a vehicle if anybody wants to talk about winterizing a vehicle.
That's a good subject, and as always, if anybody has any questions, go ahead and let us know what they are now, because you know by now how hard it is to interrupt Danny to get your questions answered.
Yeah, so, and right now there is no subject. That's kind of had the idea, but y'all, we'll talk about tamales all night, and we'll just have a festive. Is this going to be our Christmas live stream, or are we going to plan to do?
This will be the Christmas live stream, but we will be back for a live stream on the 29th.
On the 29th. So this is our Christmas live stream. Where's my Christmas hat? Where's our Christmas music?
It hasn't been that kind of a year.
It had. Yeah, you're right. If you can hear it, Sean, it hadn't been that kind of a year. It's been a year of we've lost a lot of family members, including my mom, my mother-in-law, my brother-in-law. But we're not immune to losing family members. Everyone, I can pretty much say, anyone watching, we're all going to go through this. So and together we can all get through this.
Bob's asking if you got Phase Toyota on the dyno.
Yes, great question. So we've been working on getting Phase Toyota on the dyno. So the last engine, in fact, we pulled it off first. So getting one on means pulling one off. It's set up to small block Chevy, but the dyno came from Toyota TRD. So it's not like it's never had a Toyota on there. In fact, all his life it's had nothing but Toyotas until the end. But so the Chevy small block came off, and then we had to take off all the mounts, the exhaust system, the fuel system. It's pretty invasive when you put an engine on a dyno. You got to redo everything. So we did all of that, and then we chose to not do Phase 7M. Oh, it's beautiful. I mean, I don't know if you've seen it. Go look at it. It's already got the turbo mounted on it. It's complete. So we really don't want to be hanging that, banging everything around. I'm real kind of like, no, let's do something else. So what we did is we took another 7M engine block, and we're mounting that on the dyno, and we had to have adapter made for the back of the dyno, and we're fabricating different things. So that's what we're doing right now as we speak. There's a 7M on the dyno, and we have our list for Monday now. So I want to fab the mounting brackets and everything to hold. Also, we're doing, and it's not like it's never had an intercooler mounted on dyno before. They were doing Super V8 Toyotas, and V6 Toyotas blown as well. Turbo, not turbocharged, but blowers, except for the anyway. So it's had all kinds of different intercoolers mounted on it. So what we're doing is fabbing all the brackets to mount all that on what Faye's gonna have. So we've already started to what are we doing for the fuel tank? There's a fuel tank in the dyno room, especially for the dyno room. We have another pickle tank. I think for this particular instance, because it's an aftermarket fuel pump, and Faye has an extra tank already clean and ready to go, we may even mount a Toyota tank in the dyno room and do that fuel system. So anyway, long story short, there is a Toyota on it right now, the 7M, and the mount's already done. It's there. So we're now doing all the other brackets for other attachments. We have a plate that Faye fabbed for, has her ignition and everything on it. So now we got to just take that plate, and there's you'll see it. We'll actually do some videos out of the dyno room, but there's a stand and we're going to mount that on. So her ignition and everything is going to be on another stand. So that's what we're doing now. Maybe next week it could run as, it most definitely will run before Christmas. But like I say, this has been a long journey to get here. Why rush it now? Let's just make everything right. When everything is done, we're going to take that motor off, and then phase will go on. But all the mounting and plates and everything, we had to make a back plate for it even. They'll already be done. We'll just take one off, and hers will go right on with as little handprints on it. To me, I hate handprints. Anybody that knows me in the shop, I use blue tape probably more than anybody. And I really dislike, I almost said the word hate, but we don't want to use those. I really dislike touching stuff. So I'll put a bag on stuff or a lot of tape. So great question, Bob. But anyway, yeah, it was. She's ecstatic. She's really, when you finally bolt one on, it's just a neat thing. And the next thing, like I told Faye, we discussed it before she left. The next brake fluid moment, teardrops. She's like, it must just be, a woman thing. And like Charlie's been helping, and it's like Charlie says, when we had the big block turbo motor, his big block turbo motor on the dyno, when it fired up for the first time, like Charlie says, it's not just a woman thing. Don't get me wrong. Charlie's big block turbo motor, when he fired it up, we all get that feeling when we first fire up an engine. I mean, so
we all get that feeling when we beat a Ferrari off the line.
I'm gonna tell you a little story. So we're going home. Was it last week?
Yeah.
So we're going home, and a friend of mine, a buddy, comes by, and he's gonna follow us to the house, so we're gonna mess in the shop at home. So he goes, I'll follow you. So we take off. He's in his Jeep. Actually, I think he said, I'm going to leave now because he knows that we'll pass him on the road. Well, we had already passed him, and we're at the light. So we're at the light, and this Ferrari, not your entry-level little, my first Ferrari. I don't know what it was, but you could tell it wasn't my first Ferrari. Brand new. The guy's dressed really nice, older gentleman. But he's on the left-hand lane. The left-hand lane is for passing. I don't understand why everybody goes in the left-hand lane if there's nobody on the right-hand lane at all. Left-hand lane's for passing, but he owns the left-hand lane. So Shop Mom pulls up on the right side of him. And if you know Shop Mom, she didn't go on sports mode. She didn't use the paddle shifters. She just, the light turned green, and green means go. So she pretty much just smokes him. He didn't, I don't think he was planning. He looked over, you white-haired lady, So anyway, she goes like she normally goes anyway. It's not like she was trying to race him, and I look over in her rearview mirror, and I can see him back there. Well, the other cars were all like, they're about to hit this guy because he ain't moving. So they're changing lanes to get behind Shop Mom. Well, he decides, oh my God, they're changing lanes to go around me. And I look over and I see his car and really move up. And I tell Shop Mom, I said, he's coming now. Now he's coming. So I can see in the mirror, his car's moving, and he starts coming. So now Shop Mom gets on it. She hadn't got on it before. She just left the light like she normally does. You need a neck brace when you ride with Shop Mom, just by the way. He starts coming. So I'm like, he's coming, babe. He's going to, She whooped him. We have an Acura. It's a nice big Acura, big V6. It's a beast. It is. I mean, that's why we bought it, because it's just it's a beast. but it ain't gonna hold anything to a Ferrari. Don't. I'm not trying to say that our Acura can blow away a Ferrari. She
No,
blew
I'm
away.
just a better driver.
Yes, she blew him
My
away.
reaction time was better, and I know how to drive. And we're coming up to a bottleneck, and I ain't gonna be behind anybody.
So it was just she was in her RPM range. He wasn't in the RPM range. When he finally starts getting past, he gets on it. It wasn't in the right RPM. If he would have just done, if he would have had it in the right RPM range and got the Ferrari where it wants to be, it would have come alive. He just didn't do it, and then by the time he just stomped on it, it was just off. It was just off, and it took him a while to get going, and that was because he doesn't know how to drive his car. So he got really spanked. Like I told Shaw Mom, he probably took it back to the dealer and said, "Here's the keys. I mean, this thing is slow." But if he would have driven it the way a Ferrari should be driven, it's not like we have a 4,000 horsepower Acura, even though the shop mom thinks it is. But anyway,
I just think everybody should be at about 6,500 RPM every once in a while. Well, more than once in a while. Well, okay, all the time.
Keep your engine in the RPM range it likes. You can listen to an engine, and an engine's going to tell you what it likes and what it doesn't like. So he wasn't listening to his engine. All right, so that was an amazing shop mom story for, yeah. We're pretty much, we can get to the coast, which is what, a 4-hour drive. We get there in 3 hours. I don't know. Jeez.
It doesn't take me 3 hours.
Alrighty then. Lawnmower. That's another. That's I don't think it was lawnmower wasn't here earlier when I was just saying that the messages that I received for the passing of my mom really meant a lot. Thanks, lawnmower. I mean, they're not the only one, but I mean, like they were really at the right time and genuine to where they made a difference. They did make a difference. It's like, we got friends. We're all going to get through this. Okay.
And that was a really good day. And the day that happened, I thought that was going to be the very best thing that could have happened that day. Not because I'm all that competitive and stuff, but just by way of filling you guys in because you are family. That evening we got a call from my brother, who most of you know had a recurrence of his cancer. It was in his brain, still is, but he's been on an experimental or new drug, not sure which one. Regardless, the news was that his cancer, which had given him a death sentence earlier in the year, has resolved by 90% on 1/4 of the dosage of the Lobrenna that he's now taking. So as cool as it was to beat that Ferrari driver, my brother beating cancer is way better.
I saw Shaban drives, 1/4 mile at a time, and she'd be a great race car driver, but what I would say, like in a circle track, environment, she'd be, but at the drag strip, a 1/4 mile, you can't cut somebody off. You got to stay in your lane. So she would pass you, and then she would get in front of you. So 1/4 mile, the circle track world, I think she would just pass there and make her way up to the front, and that's her instinct. But I got a feeling at the drag strip, she would pass you and then, put her blinker on and get in front of you. And I don't think that's not going to work at the drag strip. Just my thought. But Ed's Machine, good afternoon. Thanks to everybody for being here. We got so that's what I've said a long time. Like I said, I don't know about the drag strip, because you shouldn't change lanes, and she is really good at changing lanes. So, all right, yeah, Elaine Andretti, yes. Like I said, I'd love to get her in a circle track car because that's her instinct. Get around you, cut you off. Get around you, not cut you off, but get in front of you. So anyway.
I don't cut people off.
You don't cut people off. No, never. No, nope. Okay, so what else?
Okay, I haven't seen any questions from anybody, although there is a lot of conversation about the fact that Rachel Brinkley identifies with my way of driving, and yes, most people who buy high-end cars should probably have to go to driving school for a week so that they could, not look like an idiot at a light when some white-haired old lady beats them.
Yes, anything that goes that fast, and in these cars these days, we were talking to a customer today, and Z06 Vet, I don't know how many, 600 and some horsepower, whatever. You aren't used to that kind of horsepower. You know, you don't, an 11-second car off the showroom floor, Corvette runs 11s. Uh, um, Anybody that drag raced back in the day, that's fast. That's fast. We know you did do a lot. You know, back in the day, a tens was fast. 11. I mean, 12. You know, that was fast. Nowadays, every stock car, not every stock car, but you know what I'm saying. Most cars run real quick times. When back in the day, you had to put a lot of money in a car. Now you can buy a car on a showroom floor. It's accessible to you. Corvette, Hellcat. There's a bunch of different cars. People don't know how to handle that. And I explained that to the customer. We had another customer who has a Viper who almost died and was killed himself. It just, a Viper does not have traction control. So a lot of cars have a button you push and there's traction control. A Viper is, it's a real driver's car. So it'll get away from you really, really, really quick. So in a lot of these cars, I think Shaman's right. They should be a course that they shouldn't even hand you the keys until you have gone through a road course, because you're a danger to not only yourself but anybody on the road. Thit's a different world. I mean, they're like I said, a car that you can buy with 600 horsepower. I mean, the Hellcat 800 horsepower. I mean, so
what? Yeah, you need to know what to do with those ponies when you get them.
All right. So her instinct is to drive sideways. Boy, she's really, really, really good at that. She's a good driver. I mean, we don't have total lot cars. I try to get her into. I got a project Beamer, a project BMW, and I like all cars. I like Jaguars. I mean, I don't, not if I have to work on them, but that's a different animal. But it's a twin turboed, intercooled car. It's fun. I mean, when
it'll move.
It will move. It will scoot. It's fun. And I haven't even paddle shifted or did any of the sports mode. And I was like, whoa, I'm loving this car. Sean Mom does not like the way that a European car like a Mercedes, BMW, Volkswagen, the smell that's in that car. I shouldn't say the smell. You all know, maybe that's a great subject. Do you all know what I'm talking about? They smell different inside than other cars.
Horsehair.
They use horsehair in their padding. And it's because it can go on years after years and still come back up again, as opposed to other padding. But it has an extinct, I don't want to keep using the word smell. And I don't want to do, y'all think, oh, it smells. I love it. I love it. Shop Mom drove the car twice. And I thought that'd be a perfect car for us to have. So we're not putting so many miles in the Acura. I can put the Acura in the shop and do some service on it. I haven't serviced it very much. It's time for a timing belt. It's time for the direct injection thing. She doesn't like it. She drove it twice and just doesn't like the smell of it. So my son Bob's driving it now. He likes it. I like it. What I will say is my grandkids, Gabriel gets in it, and just like Shop Mom, and he says, "What's that smell?" He didn't. Lily gets in it and says, "I like that smell." You know who's gonna have the European car? It's a thing. It's just a thing. Everybody has a different car. I know that Lily has a refined sense of smell. There you go. Not that Shop Mom does not, but she instantly loved it. Gabriel instantly did not. Just instinct. No one's saying anything.
Hey, some people like cilantro. Some people don't. Some people use ketchup. Some people don't.
Did you see Blazers?
Yes.
I think he feels the same way that you feel about it.
Yes.
It smells like a wet dog to me. It's just an extinct. Some like it, exactly what you're saying. Some like cauliflower. Some like broccoli. I'm a broccoli. I don't like cauliflower. It doesn't mean it's taste is subjective.
Yes.
Yeah. So
it's not objective. It is a subjective observation.
Yeah. So yes, twin turbos can be fun. I was amazed that this thing is. I haven't even put it in sport mode. It's a beast. So I really did like. Now it's a BMW. So I worked on it for how many months did I work on that car? I wanted to do a YouTube video. I wanted to use that country song, "Every Light in the House is On." I don't know if y'all know which song I'm talking about. Every light in the house was on. So when I got this car, It was dead. The battery was dead. It was my son when went with me. Bob went with me to go get the car, and we were gonna tow it to the house. We couldn't even get the car home the first attempt. Everything's electronic. The doors are locked. It had door actuators that weren't working. We couldn't get in some doors. Finally get in. It's the battery. You know that BMW needs to have the battery programmed when you change the battery out. It has been an experience. Yeah, I've enjoyed the experience. I've gone from the front to the back of this thing. There's not one light on the dash on this thing. It has European headlights. Man, the driving bulb is $45 in that thing. Door handles were sticky. Guys, new door handles now. It's been a fun project. So now it's ready to go. But anyway, I like BMWs. I must like pain. Just like I said, I like Jaguars. I just love the way a Jaguar looks. When Ford bought Jag, I like it more.
In you, isn't there, Dave? Isn't there?
Huh?
There's a little bit of masochist in you, isn't there?
There's a little bit of masochist in me. I guess so. And, I used to tell everybody for a long time, don't buy a Jaguar. This is the older one. Don't buy a Jaguar. We go to the auction, car auction. I bring home a Jaguar, and I knew better. And I did know better. I dumped so much money in that thing, so much of my life. Those are years that I won't get back. But you ever been in a 4-door Jag going down the highway, especially in the hill country, going over the hills? I've never been in something so smooth. It has 4 shocks in the back, 2 in the front. I had a killer stereo system of Vivaldi playing in the Jag. Is just like, so it's like I get it. I mean, I get it. I get it now. If you've never experienced it, it's kind of like the same thing is. But that was the older Jags when they leaked so much oil and had so many problems with them. My sister-in-law has a newer Jag. Man, it's a blessing to work on. And that's when Ford bought out Jag. I don't need to get into the Jag Ford.
Are you talking about the F-Pace?
Oh, which one of her?
Kyle's F-Pace.
Yes.
Yeah, supercharged.
Supercharged V6. This thing is a beast.
SUV.
Black on black on black on. Like I said, it's supercharged V6, and you think it had a big V8 in it. That thing scoots, and it has huge tires. It's a beautiful vehicle. So. All right. What else? The Luke. Yeah. Darth Vader and the Lucas Electronics are terrible. You know about the Lucas Electronics Blazer, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. Jaguars wire. This is back then. 75, 74, 75, 76 in the 70s. They wire their cars the way that you wire a house. So I don't know if there are any home builders here or not, but pretty much we have thick wire that comes from the panel that goes down, down the house, on the walls, down your wall to a switch. It goes back up, and then it goes over to the light, right? So pretty much primitive power going all the way down to a switch, power going out of it to a light. Primitive. That's the way Jaguar runs off. So what does that mean? All your switches on your console or anywhere in the dash or anything, the battery voltage, thick wire comes all the way through the console, through everything, through this big switch. It looks like a house switch. It even click, 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 click. The door switch, click, click, click. Everything clicks. They're big primitive switches. Why? Because all the amperage has to go through that switch, and then it goes over to the motor that puts the window up, or the light, or whatever these switches are. All that amperage is going through the switches. There's big, bulky switches. So when you have a fire or electrical or something, those switches are going to start giving out. All that amperage is going through all your parts over your thing. How does a Honda do it, or Toyota, or now the new Jaguar? Everything. They don't run power to everything. We in a race car, I wire a race car street rod like a Honda. Okay, so they can put everything in a steering wheel. Boy, you got everything on the steering wheel. Stereo, everything can be controlled in the steering wheel. Why? We're sending milliamps. We're sending milliamps to the switches. They're this big. They're lightweight, little bitty switches that are just controlling milliamps. The voltage never even comes in the car. The voltage, big wire, goes right to the headlights, right to wherever you're going to control. Okay? Then a little wire from a relay comes inside the car. Thin wire It's a relay. A relay is controlling everything. So the amperage is not even going through the switch. So all the switches can be real small, micro switches, and they're just controlling milliamps. So all the power stays where it needs to be, directly from the battery to the headlight through a relay. The coming in the car is a micro switch. So when I years ago when I started wiring stuff, I was telling I'm wiring a car like like a Honda, like a Toyota. Now everything like the new Jags are wired this way. But in the '70s, that was the Lucas joke that once something starts burning, you can't put the smoke back, right? And all that amperage going through that switch sticks, fries, and well, it's a nightmare. So that's the joke about the Lucas Jaguar.
Craig White has a question.
Yes, Craig.
How well do you think European vehicles run over in the States on your high ethanol fuels?
And European, they don't have flex fuels sensors, and you know, if it's late model with the computer, it's going to tune itself and it's going to be fine. We have high ethanol, but not as much. I mean, we don't. The race guys are running E85, but you wouldn't put that into your street car. You just have a 30% or whatever the percentage of ethanol is. I think the computer would tune itself and it would be just fine. We're starting to. Ethanol has its bad, and it's a yin and yang. It's good and bad stuff. There's not as much energy in ethanol as there is in gasoline. Everything's it's great, run ethanol because it's cheaper. Well, I'm going to use just an example, but it's not 2-to-1. But in a race car, a lot of times in performance vehicles, it is 2-to-1. So for 10 gallons to go down the track on a race motor, or 20 gallons with E85 or ethanol or methanol, so really, you're not getting a lot of bang for that buck. You're using twice the amount of fuel. If it's a race car, well, you got twice the amount of fuel in your car. If it's a real race car where the weight matters, you added more weight because you got to have a bigger tank because you're just going to use up twice as much. Not only that, you don't get as much energy from the ethanol. What does ethanol do? It absorbs heat. It absorbs energy. So the reason that's all the negative stuff. Now some of the positive stuff. It absorbs so much heat that now they're running high ethanol and not running an intercooler. Why? Because that fuel can absorb so much heat that it removes the heat from the parts. You don't need an intercooler. So that is the intercooler, the ethanol, but you're going to run so much of it. And then what it does to the fuel system, it just tears up fuel systems, fuel lines. There's just so much good and bad from ethanol, but there is a place for it. There is a place for it. But you got to determine, like you said, I would rather run an intercooler. A person run an intercooler. What all the street outlaw guys doing now? The thing that we would never want to do with a smoking hot vapor engine, that's a different story. But we would never want to put our turbos right by the exhaust pipes. I know you're thinking, well, the turbo is mounted to the exhaust pipe, but the inlet on the turbos, if you watch them, they're right on the side of the engine, aimed this way. All that heat that's coming from the thing is going right into the turbos and going right into the engine. Makes no sense at all. Well, now they're running methanol and a ton of methanol, which extracts so much heat that, you can do that. To me, but why? But why? Okay, so it extracts so much more heat, so why would I want to do that? Well, why not, not grab air from under the hood, Gale Banks, thou shalt not get air from under the hood, and still run an intercooler or still run methanol. So anyway, any other questions? Or the good old solid state analog? Yeah, the solid state is the Jaguar.
Yeah, good old analog. Now, I'm kind of curious what your thoughts are when
Hey, Lewis. Sorry,
Bob
go ahead.
Miller says that it's magic smoke, and Wade says don't let the magic smoke out.
Yes, you can't put the smoke back in. Once you do the smoke test, and it's like a fuse on those old cars because there's so much amperage going to those wires. Once something happens, boy, it's like a fuse, and you're gone. Yeah.
Once you've lit it.
Once you lit it, you can't put the smoke back in. Oh, what does Sherry have to say? I got to.
Sherry likes borrowing a BMW. She thinks it's a fun ride.
There, so Sherry likes it as well as my daughter-in-law. So it's a fun car. It really is. I could see how it can get away from you. Also, how you could get speeding tickets real easy because you don't feel like it's going that fast. It's kind of, and it scoots. I mean, when those, I don't. There has no turbo lag. It's just they're two smaller turbos and it's intercooled and it's direct injected. I just put a new set of coils on it and anyway. It's awesome, Danny style answer. Thanks, Craig. And if you haven't seen Craig's stuff, I see most of his stuff on LinkedIn, but beautiful. I really go back to the gray that you're using on your flathead. Beautiful. I like that gray. It looks more elegant, restaurant. I don't know. It just looks really beautiful. I may have to start. I may have to do a gray motor one of these days. I'm still waiting on my tamales. Luke Brooks says. We're going to be doing some more tamales again. We've been doing them like this is 3 weekends. This weekend is venison, hot venison. We done pork the first go around, and then we do hot pork. That's traditional. The next weekend we did chicken and hot chicken. That to me just was the best. I mean, I like pork too, and I like that hot chicken is just. So there's some people who don't like pork, and there's people who want the traditional pork. So we do the chicken and hot chicken. This weekend we're doing venison, which is deer, venison and hot venison. And then we always end up doing some bean and cheese and hot bean and cheese. Beans and corn and cheese just go together. The difficulty comes in the right consistency so that the cheese don't just all run out when you steam them. So, but boy, a bean and cheese and a hot bean and cheese. And even when we do the hot bean and cheese, we'll use jalapenos as opposed to serranos or a different type of pepper.
Gotta make them hot.
Yeah, so we made and we're making the venison this weekend.
Okay, so we're gonna get ready to wrap up, folks, unless somebody's got a really awe-inspiring question or something else for Danny to talk about, because we all know Danny can talk.
So we got 15 minutes left if we want to go the full hour. If you have anything that we want to talk about, it can be food, it can be shop mom, it can be anything. Is that the best smoker? Oh, okay, there we go. This is for the best smoker. You know, my aunt started doing brisket tamales. She had some brisket left over one time, and she makes tamales for a living now. She's retired, but she did it one time just for personal, and they were like awesome. So seasonal, she would do brisket tamales by special order, and I love to make briskets. So I'd love to make a brisket tamale. Hers were pretty good, like jalapeno poppers. Yes, I mean you all are making me hungry now. So anything you can put anything in a tamale. Do you all know what a tamale is? It's corn in a shuck, and you can pretty much put anything in a tamale. Oh, you did last year for my father-in-law in Laredo. They have sweet tamales. So in the different places as well, but they have raisins and cinnamon in a tamale. So I know you're thinking, what? You don't do that inside of a pork tamale, but you make a tamale like you normally do, but it's cinnamon and raisins and sugar and spice and everything nice, and it's more of a dessert tamale. Our side of the family from Harlingen, we never had dessert tamales. I was like, a tamale is something that you eat and get back to work. So it wasn't.
It was a poor man's sandwich.
It was a poor man's sandwich. But she did some for my father-in-law for her dad last year, and we may do some more of a sweet tamale for this year at the end of our tamale season. From Route 6 Amarillo, we love Amarillo. We love. One of these days we're gonna do a Route 66. From one side to
Around Freddie is asking you,
yes,
what the best smoker for leak tests on a vacuum system.
Well, we need to do. Faye has a new one, and I was just watching somebody else's YouTube channel on a different style of smoker to test. I was thinking smoker like food. You're talking about smoking the inlet tract. So let me get back to you. I wanted to try out Phase, but just a week ago, I watched YouTube videos just like y'all do, and there's a new one out that's easier. Easier or something. It looked really, really cool. So I don't know which is the best one. I haven't tried Phase out either. She told me I can borrow hers. We can try it out. That would make a good one. Why don't we use the Phase new smoke tester to test all the inlet tubing on our intercooler on the dyno? And then I'll find out what the other one that I saw a week ago was. So I don't know. This one had like drops in it that you put in. What did we never had all that? My smoke detector was literally a cigar. I used it on the flow bench, big cigar. After a while, you get a little lightheaded, but I'd put a cigar in and use a cigar so that's what we didn't have, those kind of equipment back in the day. But my uncle did smoke cigarettes, so we would use he would use a cigar. He would use a cigarette. I've used a cigar on the flow bench and on a big fat cigar works really good. But
so Bob Miller wants to know, when doing long-term storage, what should you do with side things like windshield fluid?
Wow, that's another great question, because we're doing long-term storage and no one ever thinks about the windshield fluid. We do, because we buy the one that's down to 30.
No, it's 0.
To 0?
Yeah.
So the windshield washer fluid that we buy, it's a blue one. I don't know the name of it. Shop Mom will probably know. It ain't gonna freeze on it. But a lot of people don't think about the water in the reservoir. And there's a lot more things to winterize. So on the Plymouth, what we've done so far, we've winterized the fuel system, and then we fogged the engine. So what people don't realize is when you put a car away for storage, this is Texas, and you don't really put them away long. Up north, people put their cars away for months. They've already started to their last drive, so they're stored a lot longer. So Stabil has a lot of great products, and I didn't know they even made 2 of the fuel stabilizers for a long-term storage or short-term storage. So what people don't realize about a fuel tank, it's totally different than when I grew up. When I grew up, we were taught, raised to don't leave a lot of fuel in your tank because it goes bad. So if you're going to do something long term, don't go ahead and run it out, run all the fuel out. You don't want bad fuel because it gets gummy, it gets old. Here's the problem. Been there, done that, and I've learned this a long time ago. That's the worst thing you could do to a fuel tank. But if you have a plastic tank or a plastic line tank, it's a different animal. That's something a little bit different. But most tanks aren't. And the worst thing you could do is leave a gas tank empty or low. So the stuff to protect the tank isn't necessarily the thing to protect the fuel. So what do? You're in the middle here. Here's why. Everything sweats. Every morning you have condensation. Okay, so every day a little bit of condensation, and depending on where you park your car in your garage, on top of a concrete floor, on top of a caliche floor, or where you park your car, and your shop, you may have more condensation. My shop still has an area that's caliche floor, and then there's a concrete floor on this side, and it's all metal. And for some reason, my shop just really sweats a lot. So the next stage is get rid of the concrete, get rid of the dirt floor, finish slabbing that, and insulate it. But my shop just really, really, really sweats a lot. So every morning this happens. Every morning, every single day, you have sweat. So a gas tank that's empty has a lot more area to sweat and a lot more water, and it rusts really bad. And your sending unit, it's sitting there out of fuel, it's going to just completely rust on you. So the tank, if you have an inline pump, all that bad. So you don't want to leave a tank low. You want it full. If it's full, there isn't much place for the condensation to happen. So like I said, when I grew up, we were taught to drain everything out. You don't want to leave a car with no fuel in the tank. Fill it all the way up. So now we have what additive we're going to add. Sta-Bil has two additives. One is for real long-term storage, like for marine. They even have a marine one that you can put in. But I like the new one that Faye brought over, and we're doing a video on this. It actually coats the metal, so it treats the metal lines besides the fuel, and that's for a short-term storage. But that is really important. Is do you protect your fuel or you protect your tank and your lines? So that is one thing that we've already done on the Plymouth, and we've ran it. We put that Sta-Bil in it. We've run it. I have a filter up front. We make sure we got it in the carb, and then what we did is the next stage of winterizing. We use the Sta-Bil product. Also is a fogger. So I used to use a fogger a lot on generators and such, but now they have it for automotive. So you pull your air cleaner off and you spray it right in the throttle body for 10 seconds. I sprayed it right in the carburetor, really, really good. It's thicker, it's a fogging spray until the engine just died. I sprayed it, engine just died. Then we pull the spark plugs out and go in the spark plug holes and fog the inside. So it comes with a tube, and it's a fogger, so it's real thick, and you want to protect your cylinders, because Faye has now but purchased 4 or 5 7Ms. 2 of them were standard. There was nothing wrong with these except they sat for a long time. What happens in a cylinder? The same thing that happens in your gas tank. It sweats every morning, and the cylinders are sweating, and it goes down and it gets around the ring. So what happens? Whenever the piston is wherever they're at, every morning, every day, it sweats. And you get that moisture will start to build up water around the rings. When it gets pulled apart, 2 of hers had pittings right around, and they're in different spots. The cylinders were perfectly standard. Had they fogged this before they put it away? Now, sometimes they have a blown head gasket. On one of hers with a blown head gasket, when they pulled the head off, the water went in the cylinders, and they left it that way. But 2 of them are perfectly standard, and all that's wrong with them is the pitting around where the rings go. So we have condensation and sweating in the cylinders as well. So you want to make sure you fog them. Make sure you're going to put something away, fog the bejeebas out of it. In the carburetor, I fogged it. This is turbocharged, homogenized. And I fogged right in because it's also going to fog the turbocharger, homogenizer, the turbines and stuff. And at one point, when we got the hot vapor engine, the turbo was locked up, not from running and locking up, from just sitting for a long time and condensation. It will have condensation in a turbo as well. So fog everything really well. That will protect it from the condensation.
Craig White says condensation is a huge problem in the UK.
So good. But that is what kills more. It kills the fuel system. It kills the engines. It kills the cylinders. So fog everything. Well, what I like to say, what's the worst case scenario of over fogging? You could hydraulic it, but I'm talking about that's way over fogging, and I think everybody here has common sense. But the worst case scenario in my mind is you could foul a plug. Spark plugs are cheap. They're not cheap, but they're a lot cheaper than a cylinder. So fog it. Fog it. Even if you're going to put it away for 4 weeks, you know what? Fog it. The worst case scenario, like I said, unless you just get crazy, put a whole can in a cylinder, that's a different story. Y'all ain't going to do that. I can pretty much know y'all don't want to do that. But the worst case scenario, I foul a plug. I'd rather foul a plug than ruin my cylinders because I don't drive it very much and I let it sit. If condensation happens everywhere. I don't want to say that because I don't know. If you're in Arizona, maybe, right, where it's extremely dry, maybe they don't have a problem with it. If you live in the desert, then you might not have these issues. But where we live in the Texas Hill Country, and for whatever reason, my shop at home is just really crazy. Okay?
Wade says cars need to run.
Yes. fire them up and run them. You know, fire them up and run them every week. Just hit them. What are we getting about banana leaves? Yes, hold on.
Oh,
Lawnmower.
for tamales, they're just discussing the different.
The smaller or yes, in California they use banana leaves, and we were watching a show last night. We watch cooking shows, and they're using the banana leaves, but they make more of a. It's like a burrito. We would call it a burrito here, not a tamale. But I'm not complaining about anybody's tamales in different parts of the world.
Yes.
All right.
Because we do love our ethnic food.
And that we do.
Okay, we are at.
We made it an hour.
We've been at it for about an hour. We are going to wrap up because there is more tamale making on the schedule. Can't do it from here. Unless anybody has any other questions, we're going to go with the piece and assembly grease, guys.
Yes, I like what Jay Scott says. Everybody give us some thumbs up. I don't know. I think we are very pleased. We always have been pleased with all of y'all. We really take it serious. Like I said, it's like therapy, our therapy. So y'all actually help us. And I will say before we just go, the internet is not a friendly place. I will say that the internet is not a friendly place. Everybody can sit on the keyboards and just be the meanest and rudest. It's just as easy to be nice as it is to be to be mean. And the internet is not a friendly place. But what I will say, not here. Have gotten nothing but love from the day one, and we feel the same way about y'all. But the internet is not a happy place. So this is different. This is like an exception to the rule, because this is obviously is on the internet. This is a bunch of people from all over the world. But the internet is not a happy place. But here we've always said this about the same thing. This is a safe zone. Everybody can come here, have a good time. Shop Mom does not allow bashing of anybody from anything going on in the chat, and everybody gets along. So we're an example to the rest of the world. We can get along because you know what? I tell everybody, we're all the same. We all bleed the same. We're all, the things that make somebody laugh pretty much will make somebody else laugh. There's sadness. So anyway, this is unlike the internet in the sense of here, it's nothing but love. So love listening to you guys. Yes, Craig from we got people from all over the world here. So anyway, I think we're going to end it. We're going to end it. I'm going to hit this here. Hold on, Chop Mom, before I get...
Oh, you got to say peace and assembly grease.
Peace and assembly grease.
And Soliz Navidad.
And Soliz Navidad. Peace and assembly grease, everybody.
We will be back the 29th.
We'll be back the 29th, and we'll hear everybody's Christmas stories.
Although we might be doing that one from home, because that's a holiday weekend.
Oh, we might be doing it from home, so you may see some home backgrounds on that one. Peace and assembly grease, everybody. I'm sure I'll come on and do a short and tell everybody Merry Christmas before then. All right, hit the like and subscribe. I got to go. We'll see y'all on the next one. We love y'all.
And I don't know how to turn it off.
We're going to be here all while because someone can't turn me off.
Oh, and that's the truth.
And that is the truth. So, here we go.